Hello and thank you for viewing this screencast. This is my synthesis for reading assignment number 2, Informal Learning in Web 2.0. This synthesis covers an original article published in the Journal of Computer Assisted Learning entitled, Has Web 2.0 Revitalized Informal Learning? The Relationship Between Web 2.0 and Informal Learning by D. Song and J. Lee. First things first, what is informal learning? There are several definitions of this term floating around out there, and several are even presented in this article. I think the one that is most salient to the conversation defines informal learning as all intentional learning that is not formal. Now we know what informal learning is. How about Web 2.0? This is a term coined by DiNucci in 1999 and made popular by O'Reilly in 2005. Basically, it's a collection of technologies that allow users to interact, collaborate, create, and share information with others. Web 1.0 is a platform that can only present information. Web 2.0 allows interaction, sharing, adding of knowledge, and so on, in addition to the presentation of information. This can be seen in blogs, wikis, podcasts, videos, and other types of creation or sharing of information. The authors state that the main purpose of the study was to investigate the relationship between Web 2.0 technologies and informal learning through website studies. They seek to bring new research and information to educational learning that studies the correlation of these technologies and their impact on informal learning websites. To do this, they had to use 8 evaluation criteria that were based on literature review in order to evaluate Web 2.0 technologies. The first of these was to harness the power of the crowd. This is seen when users of the web can create a collective work that brings increased value to others. Think Wikipedia. The second is enhanced data management. The thought here is that using tag words to organize content for data visualization, as well as pattern recognition and metadata, can be useful in a learning context. Architecture of assembly basically covers the mashing up of other services onto a website to improve its effect or value. The authors use the example of Google Maps that can be run on a multitude of other sites, thereby enhancing the richness of content on those sites. Number 4 is independent access to data, allowing access from a number of sites or data streaming, or even the ability to subscribe to a data feed. Number 5, leveraging the long tail. This is a weird sounding one, but actually simple in context. The term was coined in 2004 by Chris Anderson. The concept is that the global economy is shifting away from a relative few items that the majority of people want towards multiple smaller niche items that a multitude of others want. When seen on the graph, these niche items resemble a tail. Number 6, beta service. This is what it sounds like, a site that is constantly being updated and upgraded for its offerings and services to its users. Number 7, RIA, or Rich Internet Applications Technology. Interactive web apps that can load on the page or a portion of it which increase speed and performance of the application or the website. An example would be how we used our introduction videos that were embedded into the discussion thread on the Blackboard. Number 8, social features. Developing learning communities or networks on apps or sites that allow for the decentralization of content and online contact while still promoting learning. There were 5 categories the authors put the websites they researched into. These are language learning, outdoor adventure learning, social change, global learning, virtual education, and other or miscellaneous. Like the Web 2.0 criteria, there are also 8 evaluation criteria for the websites themselves. First is content richness, how much information the website contains on the topic chosen, how it can fulfill that purpose of learning, and whether the information is actually credible and up to date. Functionality of technology. This deals with the ease of access and navigation of the website. Resource organization and having a reduced number of clicks to get to where you need to go are very big parts of this. Number 3, the extent of technology integration. This deals with the range, amount, and type of technology supported by the website. Number 4, the novelty of the technology. Do the sites contain emerging, unusual, or novel technologies? And if so, does the enjoyment of their use by the user actually increase student learning? Number 5, uniqueness of the learning environment. Is this experience one that is difficult to find in a traditional school? Authors say that this comes from the idea of adventure learning, which they define as an approach to online and hybrid education that provides students with opportunities to explore real-world issues through authentic learning experiences within what they call a collaborative learning environment. The 6th is a potential for learning. Is there a focus on achievement of learning? Are there tools for tracking learning? Are there tools for self-testing? Do the websites enable and provide learning activities for the target audience to achieve their intended learning goal? Number 7, potential for life changing event. Can this learning change the learner's perspective of the world? Can it actually change the perspective of the world for the intended audience? Number 8, scalability for the audience. Can this have the potential to impact a broad audience? The authors state that the target audience of informal learning sites need to be identified in order to determine the scalability of the audience. For instance, Khan Academy is targeted at K through 12 learners, while Yale and MIT's open online courses are targeted toward upper-level collegiate learners. The authors ended up using a 5-point Likert scale to evaluate each site with its 8 criteria. There are 3 questions that the researchers sought to answer with the study. We will address them individually in the slides to follow. Question number 1. How have informal learning websites adopted Web 2.0 characteristics? Question number 2. What is the relationship between the levels of Web 2.0 and the evaluation of informal learning websites? And question number 3. In informal learning websites, what is the level of Web 2.0's relationship with the learning content as categorized into the 5 areas? The Web 2.0 levels were assessed using the 8 evaluation criteria listed earlier. A 5-point Likert scale was used as a rating tool. A preliminary study that used 55 websites as the sample size was conducted by the authors in order to determine the validity of the rating process and the feasibility of the study in general. This study examines 287 informal learning websites using the indicators mentioned earlier, as well as the 5-point Likert scale. The results indicated that in language learning websites, the highest scores featured leveraging the long tail, and the social features scored high as well. The architecture of assembly came in lowest for the first 3 types of sites. If you recall, this criterion includes mashups for third-party applications. For the last 2 types of sites studied, permanent beta service scored highest in virtual learning and the miscellaneous category. Again, we see architecture of assembly listed lowest and the independent access to data lowest for virtual learning as well. The results for the second question seem to indicate that various Web 2.0 features significantly correlate with informal learning criteria. This means they seem to impact informal learning in a very correlational sense. The results for question number 3 were unique. The findings for this question seem to indicate that the average of the Web 2.0 criteria correlated with the average of the informal learning scores for 4 out of the 5 learning areas. The one exception was outdoor adventure. There was no correlation between the 2 averages in this case. We will discuss that in a later slide. And now we come to the real question. So what? What does this mean to me? How is it useful? Is it even useful? Should it impact my practice as an educator? Do I need to do more research? Hopefully those questions will be answered in the next few slides. Before we can dive into the implication of the results, we need to appreciate the history and importance of informal learning, especially as it applies today in the 21st century. The authors state that the concept of informal learning emerged in the late 1970s. After this, the authors state that several researchers and experts in media and education predicted that emerging computer technologies would make informal learning more important. It was also pointed out that several recent research efforts and publications have insisted that Web 2.0 technologies are making an impact on informal learning. To better understand why that is, we need to understand 2 major aspects of informal learning. The first of these are learner's choice. Basically, where the learner chooses not only the subject matter they want to learn, but also their learning style. The second aspect is learner's control, where the learner can set their own learning goals and manage or plan their own learning. With Web 1.0, there was very little to offer learners in these 2 aspects. There was literally just posted information with little in the way of learning management or style selection. As mentioned earlier, 2.0 changed that with the multitude of platforms and options available to the learner, as well as the ability for them to collaborate and contribute and plan and determine their own particular desired knowledge level, regardless of subject matter. The results do prove interesting. Out of the 8 Web 2.0 categories, the most highly adopted one was the permanent beta service. This changing of service and content being offered can affect learning in impactful ways. Earlier we discussed that informal learning can be defined as all intentional learning that is not formal. Let's take it a step further. The authors state that informal learning can also be described as opportunities for the exploration and harnessing of learning content because of the interaction it enables and the multiple paths it affords. This comes into play with beta service because based on this definition, they believe that sites that offer permanent beta service and as constant upgrade and content change may be able to provide services and content that the learners demand. Additionally, virtual education as a subset of the learning site types had the highest ratings among the 5. This is likely attributed to virtual learning sites having to use a variety of technological approaches and varied resources in order to connect with learners, and may have more readily adopted Web 2.0 attributes more so than the other types of learning sites. Remember that outdoor adventure learning score having no correlation with Web 2.0 scores? The reason for this is probably very simple. Students in these disciplines reach out for authentic learning experiences and to interact with adventures and content experts at various locations, usually in the real world. Because they are more focused on authentic learning experiences, these websites may not yet have much to offer a general web audience with their services. The authors state the Web 2.0 score and informal total learning scores have a significant relationship or correlation with each other. Not only does this correlation demonstrate that informal learning sites are adopting Web 2.0 technologies, but that these same technologies have the potential to influence the prevalence of formal learning. Also, there is evidence that Web 2.0 environments are producing learners with a new set of visual spatial skills. This is likely in large part due to the effect of multimedia features found on Web 2.0 technologies. As noted in the results section, the architecture of assembly and leveraging the long tail criteria of Web 2.0 evaluation display the lowest correlation with informal learning evaluation. Basically put, mashups of information or tech on the sites may not be significant for informal learning, and the niche features of the long tail may not be significant either. Lastly, the study indicates that language learning sites have a high correlation with total Web 2.0 scores. This is good to know, given that these sites also have the highest adoption rate of Web 2.0 features. The authors state that this means that the Web 2.0 features in language learning sites work well as a way to support informal learning. Every study has its limitations, and this one is no different. Learning itself was not the subject of the study. It could not demonstrate that these Web 2.0 features lead to informal learning. Rather, the study points out to the potential for informal learning to occur. The authors expressed the reality that the correlation they found in their study may not be real, but actually reflect a web trend or a technological fad currently underway. This is not fact, but an honest assessment of a possible limitation. And lastly, the study focused on Web 2.0 features and did not incorporate Web 1.0 features and their relationship with informal learning. The authors were clear to point out that while Web 2.0 features correlate with informal learning evaluation, they cannot argue that a specific 2.0 technology is better for informal education than any of the Web 1.0 technologies. Bottom line, there is a significant relationship between the level of Web 2.0 features and informal learning evaluations. The authors conclude that Web 2.0 features have revitalized informal learning, and they also believe that we all learn all the time in whatever situations we face. The authors also state that learner choice and learner control should be aspects of learning that are included in informal learning experiences. Future learning website designers might consider supporting collaborative and communicative interactions as well as considering their learning areas from the 5 that we listed earlier. And lastly, integrating Web 2.0 features in educational resources may contribute greatly to personalized learning environments for the students. Thank you for sitting through my synthesis and review of the journal article. I hope you found it informative, and thanks for your time.